Hey guys, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Today I'm going to bring you how to play Leoric very quickly and very concisely. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the best information available from multiple sources, I'm condensing them down into the most obvious, the most common themes, and then I'm giving them to you. So to start with, we're going to go over the talents, and then we're going to go over how to do things at different parts during the game. So, let's get started. The first thing I want to point out with Leoric is there's two roles he can fill. He can either fill number 1, which is the main tank, or he can fill number 2, which is the bruiser, damagey, semi-tank. Obviously, the main tank role will go best when you are the only warrior on your team. The bruiser role can kind of fit in if you have another warrior on your team, or a team which doesn't need that much tanking, which is rare, but it might happen. So at level 1, regardless of what build you're going, the best talent to go for is going to be Reanimation. As you can see, this is basically Regen Master, but it allows you to gather Regen Globes while undying. So in the early game and in the mid game, this is something you can do. You can just kind of wander about and just collect as many Regen Globes as possible, and you get quite a high health regen. And this does mean that you res faster. That's a really nice thing to know. So even if it says like 60 seconds until you come back, the regen will mean you res faster than that, which is always nice. That's what we're going to take. At level 4, you can choose between Fealty unto Death, which is the increased regen. This gives you a little bit more sustain during the early and mid game. In the late game, it can kind of drift away as you lose the what's the one I'm looking for? The proximity to minions. But the undying thing means it's good. It means you can just sit in a minion in a lane and you'll res faster. Or you can go with Willing Vessel, which just means it heals you by another 5%, I believe. It feels like a lot more than that, but in numbers it is only 5% of your maximum. You only gain 5% health more, which I don't know. I really like Fealty unto Death. I think it's great in the early game. At level 7, the talent either way is Ossian Renewal. Just it's like Johanna's Law, but you can use it while you're dead, and it doesn't give you health regen otherwise. At level 10, this is where things get very, very interesting. At level 10, my favourite talent in the game, regardless, is Entomb. It's just so strong. You can throw it up and it will block people in. I really recommend this if you're the main tank and if your team has little to no CC. The only time I would recommend March of the Black King is when your team has a wombo combo set up. So if you have a Gazlo, an ETC, a Butcher maybe, just someone who can really lock someone or multiple people down, and then you can just march through them swinging. Because you have to hit like 3 or 4 people for this to really be worth it. And if you do hit those people, you'll regen up to max. But if you, in my opinion, if you're unsure, go for Entomb. And when you're using Entomb, please remember that you can throw it down around your allies to save them, but don't try and do this. This is incredibly difficult and will often lead to your allies just dying. Also remember that when you throw it down, you body block this end of it, so you So I'll show it for you. So when you do this, no one can escape. They really can't escape if you step up here. No one can escape through this gap. This means your allies can't do it either. So if you are throwing it down to help people escape, remember to run backwards. Works surprisingly well when you can push people away, like with the Dragon Knight and with the Garden Terror. The Garden Terror can explode, push people away. You can throw up Entomb just as it explodes, and then the guy inside it can get out pretty easily. And that's how that one's done. At level 13, your choice is between Spell Shield. This is obviously if you're going for the main tank role, pick Spell Shield. If you're not, you can either go for Crushing Hope if you find that you're getting your Drain Hope off a lot. The full duration is hitting quite a lot. This is going to happen more if they have a lot of melee champions, melee DPS champions, like Illidan mainly, Kerrigan, Thrall, people like that. You're going to get that off a lot more. If they're not, if you're finding yourself you're having to chase them down, Drain Momentum is going to be the best one for you. I like Crushing Hope. I think Crushing Hope is very, very strong, but then it is very, very situational. You're really going to have to. You're not going to. There's not just a go-to pick in this tier, which I really like. So it depends on how the game is going. That's how you're going to want to do it. At level 16, my favourite one is Consume Vitality. Either way, because of the arc of this spell, you can hit a lot of things, and it is only it is 10% per target hit, so you can farm off of minions and mercenaries and stuff like that if you really want to. The only other one you can really go for is Renewed Swing if you're just slowing people down all the time, because you get the slow again. So if you want to slow people down and then slow people down again, if for some reason your team needs incredible peel, go for Renewed Swing. If you are in doubt, go for Consume Vitality. It's very nice. Level 20, if you're going right at level 20, pretty simple. If you're going main tank, go for Hardened Shield. If you're going for any form of damage whatsoever, and you're not the only guy who's tanking, if you're not just going to face tank the whole team, go for Spectral Leech and make sure you get loads of basic attacks off. And if you're really in doubt, if you really are just like, we need loads of damage, go for Death March. At level 20, March of the Black King becomes incredibly strong because of Death March. Just to slam down, get everyone hits with Drain Hope, you can just stand in the middle of the team and just drain so much life. It's very strong. But if you are going for tank, go for Hardened Shield. And if you are going for just basic attacks and getting a little bit more damage, go for Spectral Leech. You'll be surprised how tanky Spectral Leech actually makes you. So, also for that. So in the early game, Leoric has a surprisingly strong first few phases, and this is because his Q deals double damage to everything. So as you can see, wipe out an entire minion wave. I'm level 20, remember, so don't get any ideas about this. And as you'll see, I hit like an absolute truck. You can use Drain Hope early. So what I like to do is I like to draw them into a false sense of security. Basically, either take a few hits in the early game, or that's usually a bad thing. Basically, if they try and square off against you, or you manage to get in melee range with them, hit them with Drain Hope, and then just try and come after them. And when you're taking cannon shots, don't be afraid to continue Drain Hoping, or continue getting Drain Hope off until the and then just step out of cannon range. So basically, to go over the combo, because I completely screwed it up, but I'm going to do it again, is you get into melee range with them, hit them with Drain Hope, hit them with Skeletal Swing to slow them down. Keep marching forward with them, getting off a couple of autos if you can. Remember that while you have Drain Hope on them in the early game, you're going to be slowed as well. So you're going to have a hard time keeping up with them. If they get behind their cannon towers, don't be afraid to activate Wraith Walk. Move out of cannon range with your Wraith, just so you get a few more ticks off with Drain Hope. Because if you do, you will regen 2 cannon shots as long as you're ticking. So as soon as you stop ticking, you can port away from the cannon towers and you'll be fine. Use Wraith Walk when you know you're going to get ganked, or when you're just getting. If you're sitting here and then you see Zeratul appear and 2 people come out, just Wraith Walk straight away. Just Wraith Walk, go max distance, and then go. It's amazingly useful if you use it before they engage on you, rather than just after they engage on you, because the unstoppable means that you can cast it and then they can't take you out of it. It's really difficult for them to read you and find out where you are, and they really are unlikely to put damage on you because they just give up and they're just like, oh well, he's away. I'm fine. Let's just leave him. Which doesn't work very well. So in Tomb, there's an example of it. Obviously we killed him just before, but it's a great. Remember that they will be able to run behind the cannon tower, but it's just incredibly powerful. Don't be afraid to roam once you hit level 10. You can pick up a couple of really nice cheap kills. As you can see, it's only 50-second cooldown, so you can normally get into him on your lane. If you can grab a kill, you can swing down to another lane and then maybe get another kill up there as well, if you really want to. And I think you should, because I think that's an incredibly strong tactic to do. In the mid game and when it comes into team fights and stuff, throw down and tomb on the squishies. The best way to do that, I find, is if you're engaging, Wraith Walk in. Now this is kind of reliant on your healers, so if you can tell, particularly if you have a Malfurion or someone who has that kind of delayed healing effect, be like, I'm going in. Tell them you're going in, ping it on the map if you haven't got voice comms. If you do have voice comms, just tell them about it, and hopefully they can hit you with a regrowth. You can then Wraith Walk in. Even if they try and escape, they'll either use an escaping move to get out of the way, or they'll just take it, and then once you land them, just hit them with Entomb. And then even if you're like this and they retreat into you, the body blocking that you provide from Entomb is just going to set you up to do crazy things. Don't be afraid to give up on that tactic and use Entomb to trap 3 people, particularly if you have zoners like Kel'Thas and Jaina. You'll do so well. And in the late game, kind of rinse and repeat. Don't be afraid to go to a lane for a few seconds. It helps you out. When you die, please. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this. I'm not even sure if I can. Actually, yes, I can. I know how to do it. So when you die, please be aware of a couple of things. So with Leoric, when he dies, he doesn't die. He goes into a ghost form, and then he can roam around the battlefield, do other kinds of things. Now I'm going to show you guys how to survive this and how to make it so you don't continuously feed after you die the first time. Because I've seen a lot of people, after they die the first time, just continuously feed. Why am I rezzing so quick? What the hell? Right, so I'm not going to be able to show you any of that, actually, in fact. So basically, when you die, you can use your Hearthstone. This is a big deal that a lot of people don't understand, so when you're running around as a ghost, you can Hearthstone out. So what I like to do is I like to, depending on how many stacks I've got, I normally do this later or sooner, but when the res timer reaches about 20 seconds, start to Hearthstone if there's no one alive on your team, because that means you res back at the base and then you can defend or do whatever it is. Do not res in the middle of their team. Don't do it. If you have 3 seconds left and you're in the middle of their team, you're going to just give them another kill, which in the mid game is so strong because it gives them another bit of experience. In the late game, it doesn't really matter too much. It just means you go out of the fight for a little bit longer. But in the mid game, it sucks. Don't do it if you can avoid it. And you can avoid it because you can Hearthstone. So just please remember to do that. I found that if you learn how to time it, 15 seconds is normally quite a good one. If you want to get cheeky, you can do it around about 12 seconds in the mid game. But because you gather more regen globes, you start to regen faster as the game goes on. So when you're at level 20, don't Hearth at like 20 seconds left, because you're spawning incredibly quickly. So yeah, just be aware of that. And when you are the main tank, just you'll be surprised how good you are at just diving and getting cheap kills. And if you hit the skeletal swing on your way in, you can just kind of peel for anyone. If you do feel you need a lot of peel, you can adjust your spec accordingly. Anyway, this has been how to play Leoric. I hope this has helped some people. I've seen a lot of Leorics being a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit troubled recently as to just how to really play him. So a couple of tips just to go over him. Don't be afraid to pop Ossian Renewal early. Don't be afraid to run into the fight and throw it down. It's 20% over 6 seconds. You can regen quite a lot. You can regen quite quickly. You can be quite intimidating at that point. Always land Drain Hope. It's going to be the most important part to staying alive and to you staying alive and you dealing damage. It is the most important spell in your entire arsenal is Drain Hope. When using Entomb, only use it on the squishies unless you can gather at least 3 or 4 of their team. At least 3. If you can gather 3 people of their team in one spot, they're probably going to die. So do that. When you're dead, remember to Hearthstone if you can and if you should. If your team's alive and just pushing a base, don't be afraid to res just slightly behind them. Don't be afraid to Wraith Walk in, but be very certain that you're going to win the fight if you do. So if you Wraith Walk in, you have to make a play out of it. Don't be afraid to back out. So say if you Wraith Walk and retreat, and then you think, oh no, we're going back in, turn around and go back in the fight. The unstoppable nature is quite nice as well. Don't be afraid to use it just to if you know you're going to get stunned, or if you're stuck in a zombie wall, or if you're stuck in a grav wall or a void prison, or you know that's going to happen. Don't be afraid to just use it just to pass through. Using Wraith Walk to pass through a void prison to get to their Zeratul who's body blocked it or has blocked it is very, very useful. Anyway, this has been the Leoric guide. I've missed you. I really hope this has helped some people out, and I'll see you next time.